guys! Welcome to Calamansi Juice TV. Have you been raised in a household or in a culture where women are seen normally as being nervous, nerbiosa in Filipino, or more panic-oriented? In today's video, we will talk about the difference between normal nervousness and a real anxiety or like an anxiety disorder. What I don't want you to do is actually self-diagnose yourself. So at the end of the video, your takeaway is to be more curious about what you're experiencing, your symptoms. Either you might be thinking, oh, okay, I think this is just normal, or I think I need to speak to my doctor or with a mental health professional. Why this is important? Because normal nervousness, most people experience that, if not all. I certainly feel nervous when I have to do some public speaking, but the more that I do it, the more I get used to it, and so I'm finding ways to basically manage my nervousness. So that's normal. But when it gets in the way, when you are avoiding people, situations, and places so that you won't have that intense experience, that is getting in your way to reaching your optimal life. And so it's important to actually notice that, seek help, and educate and inform yourself and help your loved ones be able to support you. If this is your first time here, so nice to meet you. My name is Roanne, and I am a mom raising my family here in the States, and I'm a licensed psychotherapist. I create videos on deconstructing the Filipino culture in the context of relationships, parenting, and overall improving all of our emotional well-being. So if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Okay, let's begin by just exploring a little bit about Filipino culture and how we see nervousness in general. If you watch movies in the 80s, you see a lot of slapstick comedy, which we still see today. But it's usually a woman maybe holding a tray and she's serving food, and then she drops the tray, while she's picking it up, something happens and it just snowballs and it goes on and on and on. So that is coined sometimes as someone who is mali-mali. So verbatim, the translation is wrong. So you're doing something wrong, like over and over and over again. So sometimes nervousness is seen in the Filipino culture as like someone who is mali-mali, or there's another one when someone gets startled easily, and so you see this also in the movies, and it's usually a woman, and we call that as magugulutin, someone who easily startles. And in real life, we sort of absorb that as we see this in the movie theaters and in soap operas, which Filipinos love to do. And we absorb that and we dismiss it in real life as such. Oh, she's just nerviosa, or she's just mali-mali. And in a way, it's minimizing the symptoms. And so probably the reason why anxiety disorder could be underdiagnosed in the Filipino culture setting. The flip side is that we're not overpathologizing just because someone makes a mistake over and over again. Oh, okay, I think they have an anxiety disorder. So I think on the flip side, not to say that's a positive thing, that we see it as just part of life. She's just like that, so basically labeling the person as that is part of their personality. So let's talk about normal nervousness. So normal nervousness is this feeling of worry or even fear that something is about to happen. And you might have enough information or not enough information about the source of your fear, but that doesn't matter. Nevertheless, you feel really physiologically, you might be sweating, you feel like you're feeling warm inside, you're starting to do some critical self-talk like, I'm going to just not do well, or I'm going to just say, really dumb stuff in front of everybody else. Another thing about normal nervousness is it's not chronic. It's not enduring or increasing in intensity. It might happen again. For instance, if I'm nervous about public speaking, if I know I'm doing another speaking engagement, I still might be nervous, but it doesn't stop me from doing the act. It does not impair me. Another thing about normal nervousness is that I just mentioned it does not impair your functioning as far as like getting out of the house, forming and bonding with other people, doing things you basically love to do just because you're afraid and have too much worry in your head that something bad might happen. On the contrary, anxiety disorder it's an overwhelming nervousness or fear that something might happen, and there's many different kinds under one umbrella, but we won't be too clinical here. What you want to remember is that anxiety disorder is the same as nervousness, that it would have some physiological symptoms, but it's just so overwhelming. Sometimes people feel they can't breathe, they're maybe shaking, they feel like they're closed in, and usually in a few minutes it might increase in intensity, especially when someone is having what they call a panic attack. I think in the Filipino culture we might be more familiar with that, but instead of a panic attack, we call it like a nervous breakdown. So one of the things about anxiety disorder is that it's chronic. You've been having it for a long time. It's persistent, and it's not really decreasing in intensity. It's like you are having a hard time managing it, and you're afraid to have another episode, if you will, and so thereby it really affects and impairs your functioning. With you have a spouse, or like you don't go out much with friends, you don't want to take another course in school because you're just overwhelmingly worried of the outcome, so you have this anxiety. So if you fall under the anxiety disorder or the symptoms, like I mentioned, I don't want you to self-diagnose yourself. The best thing to do is to be kind to yourself and notice. And notice yourself saying very self-critical language. So treat yourself, speak to yourself as you would treat a best friend who is sharing with you that they're going through these symptoms. So instead of saying, "Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? I think I'm going crazy," simply say, "I am going through a tough time and there is help available." And that is truly the message that I want to share with you guys today, is that there is help available. So chart your symptoms, talk to your doctor, and then best of all, you can talk to a trained mental health professional. I would link below other symptoms of anxiety disorders, and if it's you or someone else, how to give that person support. I hope this was helpful to you guys. So there is a difference with normal nervousness, which is if you've had that experience, you're human, and anxiety that needs support from others. Below, I will also link the blog post to this corresponding topic. Please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for stopping by sa Uulitin.